Greetings, beautiful souls. It's Your Majesty Janelle here. Welcome in. This is my YouTube channel. Welcome to Heavenly Vibrations. And I hope all of you guys are doing well today. And I know today has been a pretty good day for me. But the past few weeks have been, words really can't describe. I will try. That's what this video is going to be about. It's going to be about the experiences that I have been undergoing, and how it can help you out, and how you can take the experiences that you may not fully understand and that are challenging, and how you can use that to create a new beginning, to use that to better your life. And I know that's easier said than done. Trust me, I get it. I understand. Um, but Spirit told me to come on here and let you guys know that a lot of times people will undergo triggers and traumas and tragedy and uncertainty and all of these things. And yeah, they can, reach out to a therapist, always consult a, mental health professional, doctor. But sometimes there are things that doctors and therapists can't help with. For me, at least for me. So like, for instance, I had a lot of supernatural experiences, mystical experiences, intense visions, intense dreams. And I noticed the only thing, this is for me personally, the only thing that has helped thus far is meditation. So doing like binaural beats, meditation, self-hypnosis, that's helped me, with reprogramming my subconscious mind, and praying, and then breath work, right? Breath work. Now, I know routine and stuff helps a lot of people. That is something that I still uh, struggle with, because you guys know me and my channel. I'm always going to be authentic. I'm always going to be true and real and raw and just tell you the truth. And sometimes the truth is not always pleasing. Sometimes the truth is pain in the butt. Sometimes it's ugly. Sometimes it's you don't understand it. Sometimes it's terrifying, right? And so that's what my channel is all about, right? Talking about consciousness and just being who you are and growth and development. But growing is not always pretty. And sometimes it's very hard, very challenging. Um, and you're faced, like I've faced so many of my darkness, right? And honestly, I had to go through darkness, and I still go through moments of darkness. Um, and see that, at least in my reality thus far, has not changed, because the thing is with nature is always changing, right? Like the seasons, but it continues to change. So it is persistently changing. So it's predictably unpredictable in a sense, right? So when we know this wisdom that we are reflections of nature, we are predictably unpredictable, or at least I am. Okay, I can't speak for everyone, but I'm sure you could probably find something about yourself, right, where you had a behavior or a belief or a thought where you were dead set on that thought, and then maybe years later you started to look at it different, or you changed your mind, right? I have literally witnessed that so many times, like so many times, where it's happened to me personally, literally my whole life, where I said, oh my God, I would never, da 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 da, right? And then I ended up doing it, or I ended up being it, or I ended up being interested in it, um, or I met someone who said that they would never be with a type of person because of something of outer appearance, right? And now they married someone of the same exact outer appearance that they said they would never, right? And so what I have learned with Mother Earth, right, is that that's the way that Mother, right, nature teaches us lessons, right? That not everything is just given all at once, right? That nature gives us breadcrumbs, signs, symbols, synchronicities, little breadcrumbs. And then if we're paying attention enough, we will gather these breadcrumbs and then put the pieces of the puzzle together. All right, but then eventually, you got to break the puzzle, put the puzzle back in the box, and then, it stays in the box, and then eventually you go back to the puzzle, and then you put the puzzle all over again, and it's a whole process. Or you can get a new puzzle. Yeah, you can get a new puzzle. And so, has any of you guys ever had a near-death experience? Let me know down below, please. I would love to know. Or an out-of-body experience. Um, Let me know. I have. And so I just want, like, I'm here to document, I'm here to talk about a little bit of my experience, um, my near-death experience. So what I learned is that what was given to me, right? What divinity, the universe, God, we'll just use God. God showed me is that my mission on earth is not complete. Not that I necessarily wanted it to be complete, but I was going through a lot of trials and tribulation and addictive behaviors and, mental health and all this. And I was getting myself stuck in the same pattern over and over and over and over again. Um, and so I personally have to be very mindful of, patterns and what I'm doing, because I can tend to be very, one pattern, this pattern, that pattern, get what I'm saying? And so, with my most recent near death experience, I literally stopped breathing. And that one, I didn't see the light, right? And so, to me, and based on my studies and research, the reason why in that one I did not see the light, because if you see the light, it is so beautiful. If you go on the other side of heaven, which I've been in that realm, it's so electrifying. It's so beautiful. It's literally words cannot describe. No money, no sex, no drugs, nothing. None of that could ever compare to the sensations of being in the domain of what we would say is heaven. Like, literally no carnal pleasure can describe that sensation, right? It's just so pure and just, I can't even explain it. But I digress. And so the last one, unfortunately, I had made a choice that led to something happening, and let's just say I woke up intubated. So I woke up with a tube in my mouth, and I opened my eyes, and my hands were like this. And it's crazy because when my spouse, Yeshua, my late husband, died July 5th of 2024, he died. And when he died, he was literally intubated, hands cuffed, and same ability. You can't talk. When you're intubated, you can't talk. You can only nod your head, open your eyes, and nod. And that's if you are able to even do that. And then hum, I guess but you can't talk. You have a tube down your throat that's literally assisting you with breathing. And so when my late husband who passed, he was intubated, I had to be the one, because I was his wife, I was his next of kin. I had to be the one to make the decision when to pull the plug. And I knew my husband's wishes about those sort of things. And so I allowed him to be on it for a certain amount of time. And then eventually I found out that, yeah, he was going. I was hoping for a miracle, but, and then I had to be the one to make that decision. And I, but when his tube was taken out, his, he didn't have his body anymore. So he died. But so when I woke up intubated, I still survived, thank God, right? And so these are two different situations, completely different, right? And this is a couple of years later. I'm just describing it because I'm relating to my my late spouse's experience, because even though this sounds horrible, probably, but in a way, it was very comforting to be intubated in a sense, because even though I had a feeling that my late spouse died peacefully, but you don't really know, right? You don't know what it feels like to be punched in the face, or to touch a hot stove, or to be pregnant, unless you've been through that experience, right? You don't really know what it's like. You can think, you can imagine, but you don't really know. So same with intubation. You don't know what it's like to be intubated unless you have been intubated. And so being intubated actually was very comforting. Do I want to have that experience again? No, I don't, because it was a little, you know, frightening, but it was still peaceful. I was still, I was able to get through it, and it was comforting. And so in a way, it gave me this strange sense of comfort, and so that's just a little brief about my last near-death experience. But this past month, these past few weeks, I had been behaving in a way where, I had let go of a lot of things, of a lot of different behaviors, but then there were some behaviors that I was still hanging on to. And Spirit had to show me, like, okay, so basically what happened was I realized in a moment, and it was like a moment, but multiple moments. Like, I can't even really explain it. But I had been living, right? I had been living unconsciously from my mom, my grandmothers, my aunts, my cousins, unhealthy patterns. Because I'm the type of person, when I'm like doing something, like I'm just in it, like, when you want something, you go and you get it, right? No matter what it takes. And then you end up getting into like an automatic behavior because you're doing it so much, and it's like, right? And so I had been unconsciously doing these unhealthy behaviors. And then Spirit at once woke me up and was like, you're living in a way. It was like I was having these visions, but she was showing me in a way that my soul could understand it. But I was like kind of having like it was like maybe a past life regression. Yeah. I never had one of those, but if I were to explain it, but it was like, what do you call it? Like a life review. Yes. Like, it was like I had a life review of all the lives that I had lived, and all the lives that I had died, right? So I was being shown that I had died this many times. I had died at least 100 times, and I didn't even know that I died 100 times. And it was like, I had died 100 times, and I didn't even know it. And it was like showing me, wait a minute, when you, like, to me, in a way, it was like, when you die, you're kind of supposed to know. That one was really, yeah. And then all of a sudden, I felt my soul come out of my body and eject out of my body, and then I felt it come in. And I can't really it was more of a sensation and a knowing, right? Because then after that, I started getting more visions, more intense deja vus, like I was going to places where I had literally seen already. Like, there was this like sea place. It was like a bar, but like there were it was like a restaurant bar place with all these colors. I forgot the name of it, but it was like off the water. And I remember having a dream about it and my soul being there. And I had ended up being there again. So basically, I was having a lot of deja vus. And just so many things were just clicking off, clicking off, clicking off. And then I just felt like my energy just going. It's like it was like I had so much energy, and like I could see things that I couldn't see before. I could feel things that I didn't really feel before, or at least I wasn't consciously feeling them. And I'm just kind of tasting. I'm just kind of like I'm giving you a brief like explanation of what happened to me. Because I feel like other people have these experiences but may not tell them, or if you tell people, people are going to think you're crazy or whatever. But if we look at history and we look at our ancestors and the ancients and the text, um, which by the way, if you are a master in any of those, or a yogi, or an ascended master, or any of that, please let me know down below, or please DM me. I would appreciate it. Um, and you know like what the next step is. You know, I'm at that point where it's like I'm trying to get to the next step, but I, there's like resistance, but at the same time it's not. It's like I'm in the this pause, right? Like the sacred pause. So that was one of many experiences. But in my book, so right now I'm in the process of creating a book. And I had hired a publishing company. And I'm not gonna, I'm just gonna say let's just say things didn't turn out the way that I thought it would be. And so that's why it's taking longer than what I expected. And so, because I wrote the book, but I needed help with like organization and structuring the book and, you know, publishing it and doing that. And yeah, could I probably figure that out myself? Yes, but in my experience, I've heard people saying it takes a long time and it's really hard. So I thought it would be easier to hire a company to help me, which I had no issue. But when it came to the rates and like the certain, fees and stuff, I was told a price and then the prices were changing and all this. And I don't really want to go into it, but I'm not gonna, I'm still gonna go through with it no matter what, because at the end of the day, I'm going to finish what I started. But let's just say I'm not too happy with that part, but I understand like business is business, so I get it. I just don't like to be blindsided when it comes to cost or, anything like a bait and switch. I don't like that. I don't like feeling that way. And I get the concept of, a business does what they have to do, but at the end of the day, as a first time author and a vulnerable adult, I I don't like feeling like I was blindsided or taken advantage, which I'm not saying that's the case. I don't know. Maybe my perspective's wrong, and see, that's the thing about me. Like, I can see both perspectives, right? I can see, and sometimes it's like, it's a blessing and it's a curse at the same time, right? Because I can see both sides of the coin and the blind side of the coin, right? And so sometimes it can get frustrating, but either way, this book is going to be published no matter what. And I'm excited. And your guys' likes, your shares, your contributions, all of that helps me to create more content, to be able to get this information out here, and about, you know, my experiences and our story and how our story can help one another, right? Our story was meant to be shared with the world. We were meant to share our story, contribute our story to one another, and use our stories to create a new story. And so, like that's why I'm here. I'm here. My mission is to help other beings follow their dreams, right? And how I help you follow your dreams is by first pushing yourself to do it. If you want to start making content, do it, right? By encouraging you, inspiring you, letting you know that you're not alone. I have been through trial and tribulation and pain and suffering and all of that, but you can still do it. We can still do this together. We can. And the first step is recognizing and saying, hey, I want to do this with my life. And then taking a step that takes you towards that. And again, I'm still in my growing. Trust me, I'm not where I want to be, and that's why I'm documenting my story, because at the moment, I live with my brother. Gratefully, I love him. He's great. Again, no relationship is perfect, but I believe with communication and with compassion and patience and care, you know, all things are possible, but eventually I do plan on moving out and getting my own place again, because to live, you know, um, a room with me and my girls, and a bedroom, and it's a lot, I don't want to like tell my whole life story on YouTube in one video, but like I wouldn't be able to do that anyways, even if I wanted to. But that's not the goal. The goal is to share my experiences to a point where it can help you and inspire you, right? And we work together, and those beings that I resonate with, if you resonate with my content, with my courage, with who I am, reach out to me. Comment down below, guys. It's always been a dream of mine to um being an actress has always been a dream of mine ever since I was a little girl. That was like my first top tier. And then I have other little side dreams, right? And I believe that we are meant to ultimately, yes, the side dreams, yes, they are in us, but our main top dream, right? Whether your dream is being a mom, right? I'm a mom, or your top dream is, being a motivational speaker, right? Which I am, right? In my own way, or to be a pastor, or to be an author, or to be an astronaut, right? I believe that eventually, if that is in your nature and that's what you truly want, that it's going to happen. You know what? I don't know how many lifetimes, I don't know, but eventually, if that is meant to be birthed through your vessel, it's going to happen one way or another, because that is where the divine takes over, the supernatural takes over into the vessel. And I am a living example. And that's why I share my story, with my near-death experience and my OBEs, because that was not in my control. And see, that's the thing with life. Like, yes, there are things that I can control, but there is a lot that I don't control. Like, I can control how I show up, what I do in my environment, what I do in my space. But even with that, there have been moments where I'm like, wait a minute. And it gets really deep. It gets really deep, but all I know is that, like, this moment right now, this is the moment at hand, right? And in this moment, I can choose to love, or I can choose to hate. I can choose to, create, or I can choose to destroy. And right now I am being an example of choosing to create for my community, because I appreciate you guys. Like, you guys are my people. Those of you who are drawn to me and my content, you guys are the ones that are meant for this and meant for so much more. Everything you possibly can imagine. And I am a living testimony. Everything that I've ever spoken, right, with pure intention, like with pure conviction, has came to pass. Now, that doesn't mean it instantly, like, no. Well, sometimes, but not all the time, no. Sometimes it took a long time, or it took years or months. And, Spirit has shown me, be careful what you wish for, because most of the time you get it. So like, just being more mindful and conscientious. Do you really want that? Because if so, you can have it. You can have it. Or you can change your mind. Because that's why we came to Earth. We came to Earth to have these experiences and to feel through our body, through our temple, and to know that you're not alone. I'm not alone. Because I don't know about you, let me know down below. There's moments where in my life I have felt I'm alone. I'm the only one dealing with this. Oh my gosh. But in reality, there's so many people dealing with the same exact thing, with the same problem, probably even worse. And yes, there are people that are doing better, but there are also people that are doing worse. And that's why it's so important to show up. And, I had false beliefs that, oh, I'm just a receptionist, right? Where I literally had unworthiness years ago. But then Spirit's like, no, you are a receptionist and you help a lot of people. You help patients. Your smile, your love, yes, money is important. Yes, money is a powerful resource and it amplifies, right? And so I'm a very giving person naturally. So when I have money, I would naturally give, right? You know, but if you're naturally greedy, right? It just amplifies you. And so I had to remind myself, and Spirit had to remind me, like, no, you're not just a Wendy's worker. I don't know if I could say that. Yeah, I can say that. I don't see why not. Okay, you're not just a fast food worker. You help bring food to people. Okay, regardless if people eat meat or whatever, or if it's bad for you, that's not the point. You're still putting a contribution into this earth realm. And I feel like, well, I've gotten to the pattern where it's like, oh my gosh, I'm not a freaking counselor, or I'm not a doctor, or I'm not a, like whatever title. No, titles don't mean nothing if the energy behind that title is not truly what you are meant to be doing and truly your passion. Because there were times where I had a title and I made all this money, but I was unhappy and it was soul sucking and soul draining. And so Spirit really had to help me see things, right? See things for what it is, view things on both perspectives, and realize that, yes, money is important, but money is not everything. It's not everything. And if you have all the money in the world, but you don't have anyone to share the money with, wouldn't that be boring? Wouldn't that be lonely? Like, I don't know. For me personally, I'm the type of person where I am already thinking of all the people I'm going to bless who have helped me, or even people who haven't helped me. All the people I'm going to bless, all the people that I'm going to help, and the contributions I'm going to create in the world and to humanity. And so, but Spirit knows that I am a very giving person. And so I know that with my journey, things have been slower on my end to teach me to be a better steward and to be more conscientious and to be more habitually, in that, right? Because things have changed, right? So when you have addiction or tragedy, a lot of things can change in your body, your mind, your spirit. And so we're to the point where I wasn't making the best decisions in my life, especially after my spouse died. It was really hard. It was really, really hard. But now I'm in a better place. It's been exactly 2 years since his passing. Again, I'm not exactly where I want to be yet, but that's why I'm documenting my journey for you guys so that you guys can see the beginning of my journey, right? Well, the middle of my journey. I don't know. The phase of my journey because I've been doing this for quite a minute now. And that you guys can see, wow, this is how she was here. And like, and not only that, for myself and my friends, and I encourage you guys to do it too. Document your journey, and then you can look back and see, wow, I have changed so much, and analyze and see, wow, okay, I could do this better, or I could, implement this or whatever, And so social media is a powerful tool. And social media, you can meet your soul tribe, your soul family, a potential partner or relationships, right? I've seen people who have met their soulmates or twin flames or whatever you want to call it, or their spouse on social media. It happens all the time where creators find each other. Um, and so it's just a powerful tool. But I well, at least I try my best to use this tool to help better my life, right? To not be so much of a consumer. Yes, I do consume social media, but my goal is to create, right? Create more than I consume and create positivity, create things that are going to help you guys, right? And so, like I say all the time, take what resonates, right? Take what resonates and leave what doesn't. Remember, at the end of the day, the power lives within you. And if you just believe and act, you will receive. Again, guys, follow my journey, subscribe, follow me on my other platforms like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, link in my bio if you want to contribute to my message and work with me perhaps. Click the link above or below and see what I have to offer again, guys. And until next time, and if you have any questions, let me know down below. What resonates, what doesn't, what other type of videos you guys want me to create, let me know. And until next time, Your Majesty here. Much love.